Doesn't actually go live until we say go live. Your volume's right down, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on mute. Yeah.
Am I? Well, there we go. It looks like we're live, people. I had no idea it was going to happen so quickly. I thought we were going to be another couple more minutes. Now I can't find my Zoom screen. Where are we, Zoom? There we go. Apparently this meeting is being live streamed according to Zoom. So there we go. So folks, what do you think of the, actually I might make this so I can, just going to play around with my screen a little bit so I can see the chat as it comes through as well as the Zoom. There we go. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Mike. Hi, Satya. And Indica Doggo was before. Satya, are you the Satya that used to be around Brisbane with Peter Wakeling with the wet pots? G'day, Leslie. Hi, Ricardo. Yeah, thanks, mate. Leslie, yeah, we've been playing around with a couple of different ideas. The camera's up there, I keep forgetting. We've been playing around with a couple of ideas, just mucking around with the backdrop and that, because you don't really want to see the dusty, dirty wall and window behind me here. So we thought we'd throw that on there. And who have we got now? Rose, Tom, Bramley Hills. How's it going, folks? And no, from India, not a problem. Yeah, when I used to make wet pots for Peter Wakeling, they're a little ceramic irrigation device that you bury under the ground, slowly leaches out or leaks out water. Basically a pressurized oya. There was a permaculture chap here called Satya, and he used to come around and chat with Pete and I when we were making those things. A bit of a top bloke. G'day, Mr. Owen. How are you, mate? Eugene. Shivanad. Sorry if I've butchered the pronunciations. EMT22. How's it going, mate? Long time no chat. Oh, dear. So I've been a little bit slack and I haven't been around all the different socials to see, g'day Mitt, to see if there's any questions around. I have had an absolutely flat out week here. So I'm just going to go around the different socials and see if anyone left any questions. I didn't think they would. It was a bit of a short notice week this week. Where's Facepalm? Facepalm, where are we? So actually, what I should ask is, can you let us know in the comment section if you have an aquaponics system, if you are curious about aquaponics, or if you're just here for the chat. I know a couple of people like Indica, they don't actually have an aquaponics system. Keep looking at the screen camera, not the other one. Don't actually have an aquaponics system, but are interested in general and just all things growing. And let me have a look on Facepalm. Nope, I got Steve saying g'day from Mauritius there, and over on my page we have, because I don't get notifications on my page from my page anymore, so I have to go in and check all the time. Don't understand Facepalm. No comments. Oh, hang on. No comments. So there we go. No questions. Looks like it's a bit of a social, and we'll just answer any questions from you folks in the chat section. I think this morning. Now, where's me Zoom? There's me Zoom. Hello, Lisa. No, I'm not the hand of the king, but it would be a pretty cool job. We just started watching the new one to kill some time at night when the head's a bit overworked. Hello, Lisa. Banana. Hey all, you've been a big inspiration for me to grow my own food, and aquaponics setup isn't feasible for us right now, but I've gotten big into gardening. Thank you, boss. Not a problem. I'm glad the videos have helped some, and we're really looking forward to getting into some more conventional gardening as well. Just have to sort out a few other things first. I feel like I've been saying that for years. Macca's Aquaponics and stuff. Hi, Rob from Macca in Victoria. How's it going, mate? Tom, curious and researching. Love the info. Not a problem, Tom. Hope it helps you take the leap at some point and helps you once you do start making a system. Just setting up a small container yesterday. Now just to sort out the tank. Good one, Leslie. Josh, Wisconsin. I want a system bad. Yeah, mate, I'd love a bigger system. How's Jack's training going? Can you see on my nose there, Jennifer? That's how well he's not listening to down at the moment. Came up and gave me a little bit of a love scratch last night. How's it going, Arthur? EMT still designing, looking at pumps with Venturis for air instead of air pumps. Yeah, I would suggest, mate, that you also have a good think about a system of air in the fish tank, a continual one, just in case the pump dies at any point in time, because once that pump dies, the fish get no air. If it's a Venturi, something that's happened to us here twice. Once was a power surge and the pump burnt out, and the second time the pump just burnt out. So something to consider in your build. Snakehead fish in aquaponics. Sweet. Yeah, we saw a couple of episodes on river monsters with snakeheads, and they look like something that would be very interesting to try and grow in aquaculture. Huge fish. Are they a common table fish in India? I know they are fairly much in some parts of America where they're a pest species. A lot of people catch and eat them. If you want to ask some questions, Sadia, go for it. Put them down in the comment section and we'll have a crack. Owen doesn't have a system, folks. It's all smoke and mirrors. He's just one of these guys who likes to troll everyone with cut out pictures he's taken off the internet. Don't listen to Owen. And what's aquaponics, Mike? I don't know. There's a guy down the road from you, Rob. Go visit Rob and he might be able to help you out with that one, mate. Desmond, what's your thought on converting an in-ground swimming pool for aquaponics? I think you're better off using it as a natural swimming pool and stocking it with table fish, mate, and then just fishing them out as you want a bit of a munch on them. The main reason being is you would need to have a ton of fish in there who have a nice nutrient load in that water to be able to then flow out and irrigate grow beds. And if you did stock it in, say you stocked it one fish every 20 litres or 6.6 gallons, the amount of grow bed space you would need to be able to look after the biofiltration would be astronomical. I think you're better off just using it as a natural swimming pool, somewhere where you can toss in some fish. You could also grow things like water plants, like water chestnuts and other kangkong with Chinese water spinach and things like that in there. But yeah, just as a straight aquaponic system, you would need to be set up in a commercial size growing area with the adequate biofiltration. So it's something I've seen a lot of people talk about. I think Murray Hallam years ago worked out, I don't remember the size of the swimming pool, but it was something like 4 or 5 acres worth of grow beds just to look after the load from the swimming pool if it was a commercially stocked volume of water. So something to think about. Yeah, so I hope that helps, mate. Kiddie pools though, like if you're doing a kiddie pool, like a couple of 1,000 litres, yeah, not a problem. I mean, commercial system tanks can go anywhere up to 10,000 litres. I'm not quite sure what that is. Probably around about 2,600 gallons-ish. Yeah, so that's doable. But again, you just need the grow space so you can get those nitrates out of the water eventually. Leslie, can you use eeltail or salmontail catfish in a system? We've got eeltail in ours at the moment. In our little deck system we're going to set up, I would turn the camera, but you wouldn't see them. We've got guinea pigs on the deck at the moment. They're our lawnmowers that we're going to be using down the back once we get the little hutch made up, little tractor. But we're going to set up, I'm looking for a 200 or probably 250 to 300 litre fish tank aquarium, and I'm going to pop in probably around about 6 or so eeltail catfish. No one panic, I know they grow rather large. We're going to grow them out to a certain size, then remove them and put them in an aquaponic system in a larger tank downstairs. But we're going to have those 6 or so catfish just run an on the deck herb and maybe salad green system, mainly because when we want something from the aquaponic system at night, Kira works late at night, she works night shift. So when she comes home, and if she wants to cook something up and grab some fresh herbs, there's a chance that she takes a torch downstairs, she can spook the jades and end up with a fish landing on her feet. So yeah, we're going to do a little deck system up here, and yeah, just to cut that a little bit short, yes, you can use eeltail, catfish, salmontail. I can't see why not. If you're talking about the Aussie native ones, we've got Brisbane River catfish, and I know that people use those as well. And that isn't some covert slang for tilapia, folks. There's a catfish that's rather prolific in the river. Pretty much all we were catching at one stage when we used to go down to Kookaburra Park at Corona Down. So yeah, you can use them in there. Just make sure they don't get too big and whatnot. Can I just ask a favour of everyone? Something I learned from Mr. Curtis Stone. If you guys, everyone watching right now, could just hit that like button, that would be absolutely awesome. Apparently it sends a message to the algorithm and lets more people know in their feed that follow us that this is actually on. And yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic if you could. Even if you don't like it, just hit the dislike button. I don't really care, but as long as the algorithm knows you folks are watching and interacting, it helps yeah, just promote it out on to YouTube. So really appreciate that. Costs you nothing as well. Bianca, you were going to say something? No? Bianca is here, by the way. No? No? There we go. There we go. Was that a Samuel question, was it? Been planning my system with koi, and we'll be getting it going towards the end of the year. The tanks with koi have been running since 2014, but want to make sure it's going to work as planned. Yeah, nice one, mate. Let us know if you have any questions here in the chat, and I'll get to them today, mate, and help you out. But koi are a great one to run aquaponic systems on. I do know some people have eaten them, but yeah, they're one way to make the system pay for itself, especially if you can get a couple of nice looking ones to breed in there, or even in a side tank. Yeah, they can fetch a pretty penny if you're allowed to keep them in your area. We're not allowed to keep them here. If we want koi, we've got to go to the local water supply and fish them out from there. We can't really have them in the system, unfortunately, only goldies. Hello, watching from California. Hello, Romulo. Bromley Hill, I really enjoyed. I'm really enjoying building the new system of vast improvement. Nice one, Bromley Hills. Yeah, that's what I miss the most about aquaponics. It gets rather boring when all you have to do is feed the fish, pull off a bug or two, and harvest food. I really like getting into the build themselves, so that's something that I'll be doing very soon. I've actually had a couple of local people ask me if I can help them out with their build. So if you are that local person and I've lost your email, hit me up here, and yeah, we'll talk about coming around and giving you a bit of a hand, even if I just point my finger and let you know what I think about certain things, because I know a lot of us men like to get in and do it ourselves. Bianca's getting texts. That's all good. I don't mind. Yeah, but yeah, leave your questions down below. If you can't tell, folks, I'm not exactly feeling 100%. I've been helping my sister move out of her house so she can get out of a very messy situation. And there was a washing machine that was in the garage, and I stuck my head in there, and I have an allergy to fungal spores, fungus spores, molds, and that sort of things. That's why I don't do the oyster mushrooms anymore. It basically gives me a really bad reaction where full body aches and pains, pretty much all mimics bad flu, congestion, migraine, slight sensitive sort of sinusy migraines at times. And I've been laid up all week just with that, plus running the sister around, doing a few doctor appointments and doing some dump runs and bits and pieces. And I'm just not shaking it this time around. So I'm feeling a little bit sluggy and a little bit slow mentally, but have been doing some other work on the sides. Just no videos this week. Bianca's looking at me. Right. Oh, she's going to pick on me. Apparently I've got to slow down. Don't know why. Yes, hello from California. We got to that. Eugene, looking for advice on setting up an IBC as a fish tank as a breeder. What type of filtration is recommended using blue barrels? If you're just going to use it as a straight aquaculture and not aquaponics, I definitely would recommend some sort of biofiltration in the form of a moving bed bioreactor is basically the easiest one to maintain. I think you can get other ones that rely, like the brush filters, just the Metalla filter material and other filter materials used in aquarium trade, but they do require some sort of cleaning. The moving bed bioreactor, they're pretty much all self-cleaning because the media is always tumbling and always hitting against each other. Generally, you use something like a Venturi or an air source down the bottom to provide the bacteria with some oxygen in the air, from the air. That as it tumbles, it knocks off any waste from the bacteria or dead bacteria or any waste that may make it through into the moving bed bioreactor. So I like them for that reason. You would also need some sort of solid filtration before it. What I would probably suggest is if you're just running it straight aquaculture, I've run one straight aquaculture before myself. There are videos in a playlist. If you look up fish farm or aquaculture in my playlist on YouTube, you'll see a series of videos. I didn't cover everything because it was my first system. With straight aquaculture, down the road, I might do something a little bit more in depth, but that might give you a couple of pointers. So yeah, from the fish tank, the solids settling filtration or a mechanical filtration, maybe sponge filters or something along those lines, then into your biofilter. And then if it's going straight back into your fish tank, I would definitely suggest you do some sort of fines filtration because the bacteria will produce some fines, plus some fines will make it through a moving bed, slow down, Robert, radial flow settler. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Hope that helps, mate. Blue barrels, yeah, so definitely I would do at least 3. So your solids filtration, bioreactor, and then the fines filter back into the fish tank. Thanks, Rob. Yeah, not a problem, mate. Glad I could help. Where are we? Rose, cheers. My aquaponics system was chosen the best DIY for 20 by Tobud magazine vans. Go Green, nice one. Is there any chance you could pop a link up? Thanks, mate. That would be awesome if we could have a bit of a look at that. And I'll even do a bit of a spruik on the different socials if you want. Always curious to see what other people come up with. A lot of people think that the way I build a system is the only way I think systems should be built. No, look at Owen's system, absolutely awesome. Rob from Bigelow Brook Farm, his system is well documented. Both of his systems are well documented on YouTube now. One's totally different from ours again, at least the current one does. So yeah, I don't think it's a one size fits all, and I really do love seeing other people and how their systems run. And fingers crossed be able to get out and see a few more down the road. I mean, even Terry's system, local here down at Bundamba, his is different again with the way he's set up. He's using both the solids filtration, moving bed bioreactor, and solids filter. Then he's got his upflow, the sand filter, and then he's got over to the biofilter. Hang on, sorry, no, I've stuffed that up. He's got his, see, I told you I'm not thinking straight. He's got his sand filter, then he's got his moving bed bioreactor, and then, yeah, through to the sub. Sorry, Terry. Yeah, so I really am interested in seeing other people's designs. Those fish look tasty. They do, mate, don't they? They will be. There's a couple in there. That big one with the splotch, I'm using my mouse, but you can't see him. He's just gone behind the solids lifting. He's got to be about one of the largest, and there's one a little bit bigger than him. Definitely well over the 500 gram mark. I dare say some of the larger ones, or maybe it was that one's the bigger one. There's definitely some that would be pushing 800 grams, if not a kilo or 2 pounds in there. Ricardo, how do you get rid of the algae in the water? That's my main challenge you're facing at the moment. Is it the floating suspended algae, like green soupy algae? I had that in the aquaculture system until basically the water chemistry settled down. For that one there, I used a UV light filter. I didn't run it 24/7 all the time on the system. In aquaculture I could have, but with aquaponics, when you do that, it's magnesium, manganese, and I think maybe iron, boron. There's a couple of elements. Basically, the UV light makes harder for the, it turns it into forms that makes it harder for the plants to take up. So it's not advised to run all the time, but it can be good if you can have it running from the last of your filtration back into your fish tank. That way it's just wiping out the algae as it goes back into there, and you're not really affecting any of the bacteria in the system. And run it until the system is nice and clean, algae free, and then just turn it off. It's not something I'd be running 24/7 in the system. A lot of people will also use hydrogen peroxide. Logs, people will use old logs in the aquarium game. And oh, hello, Jack's foot. And that's because it releases hydrogen peroxide from memory, and that basically will look after the algae. Hydrogen peroxide will just release extra oxygen in the water. Some people use it as a dosing trick when they transport fish. It just helps the water become more oxygenated and pretty much all kills off algae. So that's something you could do. Look into it though. There are limits, so you'd need to hop online and just look for any recommendations for your size system if you're going to use the hydrogen peroxide. But it is pretty expensive. I'd probably go with the UV filtration because it's something you're going to have down the line if ever needed again as well. And they were fairly cheap when I bought mine. Hope that helps. Sadia just started with snakehead fish, 4 inches, 70 fish in 1,000 litres, 260 gallons. Since it's carnivorous, I'm afraid they will eat each other. Not sure whether it'll grow up to 1 kilogram. Yeah, that's a problem people with barramundi have, as well as a few other species here. You basically get two-tailed fish. That's when one fish tries to eat another fish, but it's too big and you end up with two tails and they both die. So what a lot of barra people will do when they're running strictly barramundi is have at least 2 tanks, and they do a sizing. They'll go through and try and net all the fish out and size them into 2 batches. So you'll have the smaller one in one tank and the larger ones in another. I'm not familiar at all with snakehead though. So yeah, I'm sure if you looked online, there would be some aquaculture resources for those guys that would give you some sort of idea at what sort of culture to keep them in and whether they needed to be graded and separated and whatnot. So yeah, I'm really interested. If you ever decide to upload videos or whatever, tag me in them or give me a PM or a message or whatever, because I'd definitely be interested in following along and seeing how you go with the snakeheads. Really interested in that. Pacu is another one. If anyone in South America are running Pacu in their system, really interested to see how they go. I have heard of some Portuguese guys, Brazilian guys, I speak to them in Portuguese, trying to run them there, but I haven't seen any systems with them set up, just a couple of stills. Actually, no, I think I lied. I think I have seen one system on YouTube, but it was all in Portuguese and wasn't translated into English. So I had a look, but didn't quite get what was going on. Thanks, Desmond. I'm glad you're enjoying the videos and been following so long, mate. I've just scrolled too far. Rightio, I know Red Scorpion. How's it going? I know it's spring and I'm excited to build my own aquaponics system. Definitely a lot of inspiration. Not glad I've been able to help, mate. I hope the videos come in handy. Don't forget that there are playlists if you want to have them all in one spot. There's a beginner's playlist there, and pretty much all goes through. They were in chronological order at some point, but I got in there and moved things around just to make them easier for people to find. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff in there that you may not find just searching through the channel. Joe, love the content, Rob. Keep it up. I hope you're able to do this. Oh, nice one, Joe. Yeah, definitely recommend having a crack if you can, mate. Even starting off small with just a small little aquarium system. Something to get the that's Jack, is it? Okay. Yeah, definitely small little aquarium systems are great places to start off, even if you're just growing a couple of little herbs and bits and pieces like that. Don, trying to make my system bigger by using 2 IBC tanks. Yeah, not a problem, mate. Hope it comes in handy. I did run 2 tanks on our last large system, if you want to have a look at that. They were 2 cream tanks, so basically 1,000 litre tanks. or 260-ish gallon tanks. The one difference I would do if I was going to build that system again, though, is I would not have a communal drain, just talking about filtration and how the tanks are set up. I wouldn't have a communal drain, a larger. I was using a 90 mil. It's actually around about 3.5 inches from memory, or 3 inches from memory, storm drain, and I ran my 2-inch pipe down into that, or 50 mil pipe down into that. And I found the flow wasn't significant enough to push all the solid through. Luckily, I had an end cap at either end of that large communal drain, and I could just take it off and blast all the solids that accumulated in there out. What I'd recommend you do is run the 50 mil or 2-inch pipes as close to the radial flow settler as you can, if that's what you're running first in line with solid settler, and either run them through the side of the walls, 150 mil each, or then have just a very short communal drain where they can both join together and then flush it through. It'll just get you a lot more water velocity in there and be able to keep those solids moving a lot better. I think also too, because the standpipe in the radial flow settler was a lot larger diameter. It was basically a velocity, slowed the velocity down to the point where it just was lifting some of their heavier ones, hence why they were collecting back in that drain. So there's one tip I'd give you at least. We appreciate you being a good brother. Yeah, I try my best. Don't ask my brother though; he might disagree. Wouldn't you, Darren? No, he wouldn't. Still got to take him down to the range. Eugene, not a problem. Trying to grow mint plants in a vertical tower, the growth is very slow. That's Sadia. Might be just because the system isn't that mature at the moment. You may not have the nutrients coming out. Could be a climate thing as well, depending on where you are. Bevan, hey Bevan, how's it going, mate? Hey Rob, found a quarry in Brisbane that was doing rock from a bed which tested out fine, but they shut down any rock in Ipswich tests good. Yeah, pretty much all your blue metal, your road base. That's pretty much all. Let's go and call it bauxite. It's not bauxite or bitumen. Blue metal. There we go. Sorry guys, just not with it. Yeah, it's basically an inert rock. It's what they use for the roads in southeast Queensland. No, not ag. Scroll back up. I'll put it in the comments so other people will know what it is. It's definitely not bauxite. But yeah, it tests inert. It basically, yeah, it's just it's what they use. They actually make rock mineral dust out of it in some places as well. I can't believe I can't remember it. Anyway, yeah, that works okay. I'll quite often basalt. Thank you, basalt, crushed basalt. River rocks work as well. The problem you got to be careful with landscape supplies, at least our local one. I went down there, and what they've basically done is they've got their urbanite, which is crushed concrete, just used as drainage, gravel, and things like that. They had that next to the blue metal, and some of it had mixed in. On the top, it all looked nice and clean, but once you put the scoop in the trailer, some of it had mixed further down, so I actually had to pull it out as I was washing the basalt before we put it in the grow bed. So just something to keep in mind. But yeah, river rocks, generally more expensive than the basalt. And I think even our peaches and cream you're going to have to test it, but we got, it's a fairly common rock from what I've been told, peaches and cream, landscaping rock. It tested negative for carbonates. So I actually used some in a video. Here we go, a bit of behind the scenes, folks. I used some of that peaches and cream. It's what was around the aquaponics system. Actually had to put some crushed concrete in there to get the bubbles to come out, just to give people an example. But some film trickery for you. So yeah, that one worked all right. Yeah, like don't mention brands because I wouldn't recommend them necessarily. But yeah, I've went down to the landscapers with a 2-litre thing of vinegar in a little glass jar and asked to test it, and they thought it was very funny. At least they were laughing after I left, and they didn't think I was listening. So yeah, most of them think it's all right. Generally speaking, if you tell people that you want to grow your vegetables using fish crap, they generally ask a few questions, and you can strike up a bit of a conversation with them. Yeah, try that, Bevan. Yeah, at least if you're out at Ipswich, most of the guys out here use that crushed road base. Don't. So I know people have done this, and I definitely don't recommend it. They grab it from the side of the road where the councils have their stockpiles. They're contaminated. Some of them have got bitumen in it because they recycle some of that rock at times. Don't be a wally and do that. Besides, a lot of those places have covert cameras now, and they get your number plate number. So don't be one of those wombats. Basalt, thanks, mate. I got some of that stuff. The blue metal had quartz in it. Yeah. Yeah, just try it. Just throw some in a jar with some vinegar, and if you see streams of bubbles coming up, you'll see some bubbles as air bubbles pop from where it's trapped on the sides of the rocks. But if you see streams of bubbles, that's the acid breaking down the carbonates in there, and vinegar basically has a low enough pH that it'll cause that to happen. Sorry, guys. More coffee. Oh, and just to let you know, we have to keep it fairly short today. We've got a young chap coming around to pick up a birthday present, and Bianca's got to head out this afternoon with his mum, so we pretty much will have to keep it till 11:30 today. But if you do have any questions, still pop them down there in the comments underneath this video after this video's gone to YouTube, and I will get to them. I go through all my comments on all my videos, as a few people would have realized. They got hit with a load of responses in one day the other week. So yeah, feel free to leave them down if you're watching this after the video has been and gone. And by the way, just another reminder, if you haven't been here, please hit that like button if you can. It basically tells YouTube that folks are watching it, and it sends it out there so more people can jump in the stream here, and we can have basically a larger reach on YouTube, because I'm only going to be live streaming for the next couple of weeks. I might as well do a little bit of an info spot. Phil and Crook this week didn't get to do the video I wanted, which was harvesting the aquaponic potatoes. I'm going to do that video. I'll shoot it at least next week, but it may not be up for a couple of weeks. I'm basically having a couple of weeks off until make sure my sister's out of the woods, and basically I'm going to be running backwards and forwards and doing bits with the hospital with that. And on my downtime here, Bianca and I pretty much all just decided I need to pull my thumb out and get stuck into the aquaponic system. We've been putting it off because we've been looking at buying property out west or up north slightly, and didn't want to put too much effort into the place here before we sold, but we've decided to stuff it. We're going to do the aquaponic system. If people who buy the place, if we decide to sell, if we don't buy a property as well as keeping this place, we can take it down and move it, or we can leave it there and they can grow their own veg, which would be what I prefer, get someone else growing their own veg. So I will be doing a video on building that aquaponic system. Also got the aquarium build plan for the deck here.
Yep.
Front yard rebuild and landscaping. And you want to do a video on your guinea lawnmowers too, don't you?
Awesome.
Yeah, do a video on the guinea pig lawnmowers. And there's a few other bits and pieces. So I've got loads of videos I want to do. Oh, plus the other aquaponic ones that I've got planned. There's the biofiltration one. There's also the nutrients. A lot of people are having issues when it comes to knowing what to put in a system, because you hop on Facebook and you hear so many different things from different people about amendments to add in. So I want to do just a basic one on that, and then people can get as in deep into it and add their own concoctions and additives if they want. Yeah, so I have loads plans. It's just I've been pulled in so many different directions this year, just helping out family and friends and other bits and pieces, and Bianca's health and my own health, that I've been focusing on that rather than YouTube. Sorry, but family and friends need to come first, unfortunately. So that's what's going on there. I will share a screen though. I'll bring it up. I have been working on the guide a lot more. Share screen. I will share this one. Thank you, Robert. I've been working on the guide a lot more. Basically, because I've been feeling crook, I'm working on the cycling of the aquaponic system. A few folks who aren't aware, I do have that beginner's guide available. There'll be a link below this video if you want to suss it out to a website. It basically goes to the website, gives you a demo on what the guide is. Primarily, the Retrieve website was set up to do just video guides, interactive. So you click on the text and it takes you to that position in the video where you do a search and it brings up all the different segments, and it's also transcribed and translated into 4 different languages now. So that's what the guide is primarily based around. I'm not happy with that, so I'm building out PDFs that go into much greater detail, and this is the backbone of the cycling and aquaponics system. I've actually gone in a little bit too in-depth, Bianca thinks. So what I'm doing is all the in-depth stuff will be going into the book that is also in the work. I'll stop sharing that now. That is also in the works, and then I'll be doing a more concise version, just a practical application of that will be going to the guide. There's always there's already the bell siphon one on the guide and the IBC chop and flip aquaponics system. So if you have bought the guide, if you look at those PDFs and compare them to what you see in the video, you'll know what I mean. They're a lot more in depth than the actual video themselves, and that's basically forming the backbone of the book once it gets released. So I'm using the guide as a bit of a framework for that book, the way it's going to be built out. And any suggestions as well for topics that you haven't seen covered on my channel or in the guide, I'm always up for them. If you want to put them in the comment section wherever you do follow along online, and yeah, and I'll look at including them, because the whole reason I'm doing this is just basically to get to people to be a little bit more self-reliant on their own capabilities, resources, grow your own food, share your knowledge with other people in the neighborhood, maybe, you know, get a little bit of a thing going. We grow a heck of a lot of ginger here, and we're always giving it out to family and friends. And in return, Mum quite often gives us strawberries and herbs and bits and pieces like that. So it's one of those things. It'd be great to see little communities come together. So yeah. I'll stop prattling on and take a breath. Any questions, Bianca?
Yeah,
There is? Okay. Do you want to read them out, please? I used to grow other things that required, when I was a lot younger and very foolish. You did a quick Google. I used to grow things years ago that required different light cycles, but it has been decades since I've done anything like that. I know we used to shorten the light span for flowering. For cherry tomato, I'm sorry, I have no idea. Tomatoes. Bianca, take over. Hucho. There you go, Hucho. Put a link in there, Hucho, oh, Bianca, do you want to throw a link to Hucho? He may have something on his channel. So look him up. He has done light reviews and he's grown under lights a fair bit, so he may have something on his channel. If not, he also does have a Facebook group. You can hop on there and yeah, someone there may be able to help you out as well. Sorry, I can't answer. It's just, like I said, decades since I've grown under lights. We had Roma tomatoes in the system grown in tubes. Don't ask me why I grew them in tubes. They were supposed to be NFT when I thought NFT was just something in a tube. I later realized they're actually deep water culture tubes. The Roma tomatoes just took forever, didn't they? And they never actually ripened. We actually took them out of the little closet to ripen them on the bench. And just the root mass that was just grown in those stormwater pipes was absolutely astronomical. So yeah, no help on that. Sorry, mate. Howdy. Where am I? There we go. Howdy, Virginia. Yep. Just excuse me, folks. Hang on. Just had to clear the sinuses. Sorry. Yes, Bianca. Yes, if you could. I'm sorry, Bramley. Bianca and I were out touring, looking at properties yesterday and picking up a boomstick. So I haven't checked any. Let us know if you put it in, if it was a Gmail or somewhere else, so I know where to look for it, mate. I'm busy this afternoon. I'll be getting to all my correspondence on Monday morning. And I'll get back to you there. Would you recommend using on each tank, or do you, if you've got a long enough retention time, have each tank going into the radial flow settler. Retention time minimum, a decent, a 6-minute retention time is a decent amount. Basically, retention time is the volume of your container divided by your flow rate per hour, and then multiply that by 60. Bianca's laughing. Okay. Yeah, so where was I? Retention time. Volume of vessel divided by the flow rate per hour, that'll multiplied by 60, that'll give you a retention time in minutes. You're looking at 6 minutes minimum. If you can keep above that, definitely, yeah, run them both in there. But if not, it would pay for you to 2 separate radial flow settlers, or what you could, yeah, 2 separate radial flow settlers and then join them together. Just a heads up for you people running a single tank but want longer retention time. If you don't have a large vessel, you can use 2 vessels of the same size, split your flow coming out of the fish tank into both of them, and that will effectively double your retention time. If you run them in series one to the other, you're basically getting the same retention time, but just in 2 same size vessels. So hope that helps, mate. Bianca, you were laughing. Don't worry. Okay. Next, Bianca. There we go, uncommon sense. You're getting midge fly, red worm larvae in your filters. Yes, I have. We used to get loads in there. Just throw them back in your fish tank if you've got silvers or jades, and I'll look after them. Not a huge issue. It seems to come with our last system. We used to get loads of them through summer, then they die back through winter, and then some summers we had hardly any. I was just scraping them off the side walls and throwing them back into the jade tanks. I don't know if they was, I'd say the jades would have seen them because they eat pretty small stuff. So yeah, that's all I was pretty much all doing with them. Not a huge issue. There is the argument I've seen some people put forth on Facebook that they're eating all the nutrients in the system, you know, using up nutrients in the system. Same argument could be said for the red worms, or the composting worms in your media beds. Generally speaking, nitrogen isn't a huge issue in aquaponic systems, and I don't think they'd be taking out enough of the others to be a concern. So yeah, just you could try harvesting them, adding into your fish, or yeah, just don't worry about them, or just knock them off the side wall so they just flow through the system and end up being deposited in your grow beds. So that way the nutrients get recycled in there as they break down. I hope that helps, mate. Basalt thing's got some of the stuff in quartz. Oh, Gurkhan, how's it going, mate? Hope you're warm down there. Sorry? Hillbilly Prepper. Hey, Hillbilly Prepper and family, how's it going? Not a problem, mate. You're not that late. The easiest way is, because YouTube is silly and won't allow it, the easiest is to either upload a video to YouTube and then share a link with me under one of the videos. As I said before, if it's under a current video, I generally see those comments at least a week, no later than a week after then I post the video. If you're one of the supporters on the supporter websites, just drop a PM over there and I'll be able to get back to you straight away. Always look after people who ask questions on the guides first, then the supporter networks. And yeah, I can get back to you. If you're on Facebook. Oh, on Facebook, not a problem. Yeah, Ricardo. You can try leaving a comment on Facebook, but to tell you the truth, I'm not really looking at Facebook a great deal. I'm going on some of my pages at least once or twice a week and just looking there. I'm a moderator over on Australia and Aquaponics, but that's for Aussies only. Sorry, people from international. The owners of that page want it for Aussies only. Otherwise, it gets a little bit too hectic, as we've seen in other groups. You can leave information over there. And I just want to clear something up. I don't promote my guides or anything financially on any groups. I don't spam them. I share my YouTube videos, which I have ads in, to different Facebook groups. I had someone reckon that I'm going to start promoting my members clubs and my Patreons, even though I've only just rejoined Patreon, partly thanks to them saying that I promote Patreon all the time. And my guides, I don't promote them on the different groups. I don't want to spam people. Those groups are set up for folks who are beginning and new to aquaponics to learn on those Facebook groups. I post my videos there. If my videos have ads in them, I'm very sorry, but I need to earn a living as well. You know, I'm sorry that I need to eat food and want to buy a bigger property and help people out. I'm very sorry about that. And what I don't think a lot of people understand is if you're watching a lot of videos where people have advertising on them, you're getting ads for multinational companies. I've got people advertise beers, trucks, all sorts of stuff on my videos, and people seem to be fine with multinationals earning ad revenue and earning money off my videos, but not me just trying to roll my own ad and earn a couple of bob here and there just to help make me able to get back to folks and help them. So yeah, to you people out there who are a bit shitty that I try to advertise and earn some money, well, I could do a finger gesture, but I won't. I already just said the S word. So yeah, grow up, folks. But yeah, if you're in one of those Facebook groups, I do try and post helpful videos there. And if you want to get in contact with me via Facebook, the best place is our Bits Out the Back page. I think it's renamed to Rob's Aquaponics now or something like that. Post a comment there, and yeah, I might get to it through the week. Sorry, little rant. Had to have it. Yeah, and let go. Yeah, it's done. It's out there. Rightio. So sorry about that, Ricardo. Didn't really mean to just rant and rave. Leslie, yes. Have to up the pH, yep. Mexican walking fish. Well, there you go. I have seen people with aquarium setups run the Mexican walking fish. With your rainwater tank, basically you're going to have no minerals in there, no alkalinity. So it would pay to have something in the system that offers that alkalinity to the water. Oh, concrete, yeah, no, yeah, what sort of tank? Yeah, if it's an aquaponic system, it's generally going to be fiberglass, HDPE or your glass, or a lined Colorbond style. You would need to put some minerals in there to add some alkalinity in there. Basically, as the bacteria, the nitrifying bacteria convert your ammonia to nitrite to nitrate. They also consume carbon, and they generally get their carbon from the form carbonates in the water, which is your alkalinity, not necessarily the pH. pH is linked with alkalinity, but they're different. So they're robbing carbonate from as a carbon source from the water, which will then bring your pH down. So you could try adding some carbonates like a garden lime in there to begin with. Dolomite lime, if you're lucky enough to have that, will have some magnesium in there as well. So you're adding not only calcium, but magnesium and carbonates as well into the system. We don't add alkalinity as such when we're adding the carbonate calcium hydroxide. There is a little bit of carbonate in there. It's mainly the hydroxide that is raising the alkalinity in the system. I have seen people just add a little bit of limestone rock in the system, and they claim that it keeps their pH perfectly balanced between 6.8 and 7. I tried it a while back, and the same with shell grit, which is basically what you feed your chickens. That worked for a little while, and then it just stopped buffering. The pH just kept falling lower and lower. So there are those options to look at. Oyster shells, I know, are big in the US, especially around Mississippi and Texas. I've seen a lot of people there use crushed oyster shells because it adds other elements as well. So definitely consider adding something like that to your rainwater. So hope that helps, mate. Bianca, where are we? The old 90-day tomatoes. Don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, I'm lost. Sorry, guys, I'll just read off Bianca's screen. Just excuse me. What's your thoughts on small system? So it's pretty much all inside. Yeah, inside system works great. Michael, who's in the chat to begin with, is probably fallen asleep at the computer again. He's got his system set up. So what he's got is the fish tank in the basement, and then he's got his grove side out in a geodesic dome. And in winter, I'm fairly sure in winter, he basically cuts off the water supply, has a couple of grow beds inside, and that's pretty much all how he runs his system. And I asked him if he's getting ready for his spring now. I don't think he got back to me, so he fell asleep. And then he switches the water back on to the geodesic dome outside with the grow beds out there. So that's one system, that one way you could run a system like that if you have a lot of cold and snow through winter. Running indoors, Brian, done a couple of consultations with him. He also has indoor systems. He had an unfortunate infestation with the tilapia. He got those, so he had to cleanse the system of them and start again. G'day, Brian, if you're watching. Like to know how the system's going, mate. Just send you an email. He runs inside just under lights, and because he's in his basement, the water temperature and the atmospheric temperature is a lot easier to control. He has no problems at all, and he's running under LED lights. Don't know if he was using Spider Farmer or one of those other popular ones like what's Mars Hydro. I think there's another popular one you see online. Yeah, so a lot easier to keep your water and your ambient temperature up for the plants and the fish. Jack just took your lead out, did he? Oh yeah, just a bit of a reminder. I'm doing consultations now. I've been doing them for years, which was another thing that bloke was worried about. I was going to advertise my consultations. I've been doing consultations for about 4 years now, folks. I've actually advertised them on the website. Website is now called robsaquaponic.com. A lot easier to remember. So hop on over there if you want a consultation with me. And the rates, there's a fixed rate on there, but anyone who's done a consultation with me knows. The same with the consultations through the guide. If you do ask me questions over there, I keep answering questions long after the time period is up for the consultation fee. So I'm not a money grubber. If you guys need help, as long as it's something nice and easy that I could knock over in 10-15 minutes, I'm more than happy to help you folks out. If you want me to design a system after the initial consultation, that might require a little bit more remuneration. But yeah, I'm doing the consultations. There'll be a link below. I'll pop a link below here after if you can remind me. So yeah. Pointing fingers, that's easy. Go, Rob. Hope you're having a crack over there. It's Nifty. Hey, Nifty. How's it going, mate? Nifty's quails are laying eggs. He's got 10 on the go at the moment, and he's collecting them up. He's going to pop them in the brooder, and hopefully one day I'll be able to go up and do it with Nifty. And we might have a range day first, and then maybe video some stuff at his place, see what his little backyard farm is doing. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, so we were thinking about, just reminds me, we were thinking about doing quail here. Bianca has got a little bit of a taste for ducks. So we're looking at getting some Muscovies. I know Nicole and H said they had a hen sitting on some eggs out there. So I don't know if the offer's still open, but yeah, we're looking at getting Muscovies. Sorry, Rob, if you're watching, no chickens yet, and Michael and other people who pick on us. But we're looking at getting some Muscovies in the backyard here because they're going to be easy enough to look after. It's the other chicken. And the beauty of that is I want to do a duckponic system or quackponic system for growing ginger. So it'll be a hybridized dual root zone wicking duckponic system. So yeah, something to look forward to on the channel, something a little bit different again, just throw as many catchphrase names in there as I can. But yeah. We were up your way, Nifty. We went out to the barn again yesterday. I got myself a little Browning BL 22. So yeah. In the midterm, they've been great. Everyone who I know who has run them has been they've had really good success with them. Mum and Dad's one was run basically. It was powered by fish, Charlie Carp, fish emulsion. But they grew some absolutely fantastic stuff. Dad was actually getting a little bit of an income, doing a bit of a trade with some people over the flat-leafed parsley. They were on selling. No, they were using it as a garnish decoration for their displays. Absolutely phenomenal growth just out of the chop and flip using the Charlie carp. Probably a lot better with fish. I know people have had them running for years now. They've run multiple loads of fish through there. Also, just ornamental systems run with goldfish as well. Probably should try and catch up with a couple of you folks. If you're local in Southeast Queensland and you've been running a chop and flip for a number of years, I know Fred here in Ipswich, I saw your message, mate. I just been flat out and haven't gotten to you. Anyone who's been running a system for a number of years and would like me to come out and have a bit of a look at it, just so we can show you that, you know, literally the proof is in the pudding. These people are getting fish and veg out of their system. Hit me up in the comments here or somewhere online. And yeah, do attention IBC video is the as the header, and that'll get my attention. And yeah, we'll see about coming out and doing a bit of a video on it for everyone else to catch up on. Oh, I'm speaking too much. I'm getting lightheaded. Cool. Yep.
What is it?
Buckets and lots of them. Children and buckets. That's even better. Less energy you need to expel. And if there was an EMP, to tell you the truth, I'd just be eating fish and worrying about other things that are going on. Unless I was out bush, then I wouldn't give a hand. Anyway.
Is it
Yeah, well, that's what. Go and have a look at Rob on Bigelow Brook Farm. He runs his mineralization tank inline on the system. I think he's talking about doing a redesign or a new video on it, but it had been working for him last season, and I think it's been set up this way, set up alternatively this way this season, so he can do a video on it after the end of the season over there in the States. He's in Massachusetts from memory. So yeah, go over to Rob. Web for Deb is the old channel name, but it should come up as Bigelow Brook Farm. And check out that. Check out his store as well, his Venturis, and he's done a load of innovating for aquaponics and helped loads of us out. This was the first system I saw online that got me into aquaponics, other than reading an article in an old Frugal Living website I was a contributor to. Yep.
I don't know if it would be.
What's that? That's the pool one. Oh, hybrid Biodigester. Yeah. I'm really interested in doing the, like when we get our property, we looked at a property yesterday, 100 acres, totally off grid. Basically, you didn't have access after it had rained. It was that off grid. Nice valleys and treed ridge lines up around Crow's Nest. And that's something I would look at doing, a biodigester to produce our own methane for heating and cooking. So yeah, in a biodigester in that in that case, if you're looking at it to produce methane as a byproduct, you'd need a fairly large fish flow. But then again, what you'd put other waste in there, like plant material, maybe chicken manure and other bits and pieces like that in there to help build the methane up. I would say human waste, but there would be legalities around that, so I wouldn't do human waste. Yes. Nomad's got a beard like mine. Sweet. I found a chip in there this morning from last night, so there's breakfast sorted. Guinea pigs taste like duck. Yeah, there's an awesome, I say it every time, there's a 15-minute from paddock to plate video on YouTube. The guinea pigs from a Sunshine Coast permaculture mob, so check that out if you're into alternate food source for the backyard. Yep. Potassium well, potassium is basically it's required by the whole plant. So if that's low, you may have issues, but phosphate may be the other one. The problem with phosphate is I've seen people tell other people that they have no phosphate on Facebook groups, and then within 3 weeks, they're coming back saying, I've got algae in my system after they put phosphate in from the hardware shop or the nursery. Try adding something like a kelp additive if you can, because there is phosphate in there as well as potassium, and that may help you out. Yeah, that's pretty much. We'll just find like a broad spectrum organic based aquaponic suitable additive, which for me is generally just the kelp additives. I think are an all good all rounder shotgun style nutrient additive to the system. That would be my guess. That's the issue you're having. But then again, like if it could be just a general health thing, like if you've got chlorosis of the leaves, it may just be that they don't have enough iron and magnesium, and just the general health of the plant may not be up to spec. So yeah, definitely look at adding something like that. Just keep in mind if you are adding some of the flaked seafood soluble powders. By the way, I'm going to be selling that soon in our store, along with the uniseals and a few other things I'm looking at stocking. Pardon me. So if you're in Australia, check that out. I'll do a video just to let everyone know. Sell out again to YouTube and Facebook know that I'm selling that. But yeah, if you add that powdered kelp, it can turn the water a little bit tea stained, just because of the can't think of the name, the additives in there that will just tint the water a bit, but that generally disappears after a while. So yeah, look into an additive like that. It might help you out. Sorry, I'm not very much on the ball on board with my English today, folks. I'm just not quite there. Anyone else, Bianca? I can do a few quick ones. I can hang around online. Yeah, liquid sea salt. That's the big one here in Australia. The liquid sea salt. I just like the kelp powder myself. I just find that's easier to use. But sea salt's another one. And overseas, I think it's in America at least, it's called Maxi Crop. Just basically look up for liquid, organic liquid kelp or seaweed fertilizers, and they're all pretty good. They're a good thing to add, even if you're running a system in between your fish. If you've harvested all your fish, you can run it basically on a kelp-based product, because you generally find you have a large nitrogen bank in the system, and that'll just keep the system ticking over until the fingerlings are up to size. Or in fact, you could probably have a 6 months break, and then pop the fingerlings in and just run it with the nutrient build up from the nitrates. So what are you doing? I actually get a copy of that. You don't need to copy it. Thanks though. Bianca just took a copy of the thing there. Chat. Your chat is. Hi Anna, how's it going, Anna? I might just go through. I'll scroll through the chat if you need to zip off, Bianca. Fanatic Forager, how's it going? What's that? Sorry, Nomad. Yep. South America. My country is seeking to be self-sufficient in chicken feed. Aquaponics, definitely. Chickens smash through duckweed. Our chooks absolutely loved it. I found it was a bit of a pain to have in the aquaponics system, as other people I visited point out. You put it in one spot and it goes all through the system eventually. Yeah, our chickens absolutely smash through it. Also, too, it's great for your compost. It's a great activator for compost, especially when you put it through there in nice thick layers. If you're building like a Johnson Sioux style bioreactor, and you don't have a lot of green, heavy nitrogenous waste, large layers of duckweed through there can just help activate it in different spots. Fantastic. Great chicken feed. Its protein level is right up there from memory. Another one to look at, I don't know if you have it, there is Azolla. Azolla is a water fern, grows on the surface. That one there is nutritious as well. And I have seen people use it as a food, as a greens powder, super powder, like the moringa tree and that sort of thing. So yeah, definitely have a look into that. Azolla, duckweed. There are some government agencies like the UN. They have some papers on it from memory. So definitely have a look at it. And the other thing is maybe even using aquaponics as a way to grow small little fish, like a protein source fish. I don't know how sustainable that would be, depending on where you're getting the feedstock for the fish. But that may be some way to get some sort of a very a cheap and easy fish meal as a protein source for the chicken feed as well. So, and then you look at things like also too, you've got your black soldier fly larvae and other fly maggot larvae. I know that pigs in Japan were raised on, they were using meat scrap, or it may have been sewage, to raise just housefly maggots, harvesting that, drying them, processing them, so there's no crossover with contamination, and feeding pigs with them. And at the same time, they're looking after some solids waste that is very, very toxic in the environment, nutrient-wise, when released. So all those things, don't put all your eggs in one basket and think that just aquaponics is going to be the way. Look across the board. Even those larvae that you make for the chicken feed could also be used as a fish feed as well. So yeah, try to open permaculture mind or regenerative mind and think multiple uses for one. Yeah. I'll stop. I'll shut up. I'll zip it. Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. If the pump dies, yeah, basically you're going to have to aerate the system so that the fish have some oxygen, and you would have to harvest them. Basically, you'd have to harvest them or find somewhere else, because trying to locate a pump, again, once they repair the grid, or once you repair your solar, or however you got your electronics set up, you're going to have to find a pump that wasn't affected. And yeah, so you basically have to find some way to find an alternate energy source, and alternate pumps if you can't repair them yourself to run the system again. I mean, you could do the old paddle wheel. I mean, aquaculture systems are run with paddle wheels, and they basically break the surface tension of the ponds to get air in there. You could probably set up some sort of a windmill, or maybe a creek, to provide energy to get some sort of a movement through there, paddle wheel style movement with some cogs. I mean, actually, there's a good one for you. If you've got a flowing stream you can harvest the energy from, there's a guy in New Zealand who's got some awesome videos on generating water from streams using, I think they were LG washing machine motors. He just runs them down through a pipe and gets a high pressure, just hits the motor a certain way, high revolution spin, and he generates quite a few kilowatts just from a small trickling stream. Something we're looking for, a flowing stream on properties would be preferred for us. So we can do something along those lines. So we're not necessarily just relying on solar. Oh yeah, the hammer pump. So that's where the water comes down. I'm just using flowing water as a stream as well. Good one, Hillbilly. Look up your hammer pump. There's another name for them as well, isn't there? Basically, you're using the water's going through a one-way check valve, and it's pushing up a little bit at a time, and you can pump a small amount of water to a high height elevation. The beauty of it is, even though it's only a small flow rate, because the stream just runs non-stop, it's a small amount over a prolonged period of time. People have run their whole housing water farm systems off that, pumping up to high header tanks and then irrigating crops with it, both commercial and domestic crops. So hammer pump, yeah, it's just called a hammer pump, I think. Yep. Yep. Coffee's almost done, folks. Yeah, I know a lot of people who do use it. I had reservations about it early on. I just saw someone use it, but he had yabbies in his sump, and he just did a blanket spray, and all his yabbies killed over within a couple of weeks. When I looked up on it, they say that it's just like an insect. The azadirachtin in it is it inhibits the molting of the insect's exoskeleton, and it has the same effect on certain crustaceans as well. So there's one for you folks who wanted to know what it did. So it can have that effect on crustaceans. So I stopped using it in the system after that. Not only that, I found I was buying it in bulk. You know, buy in bulk, make it cheap. And then I read further studies and papers on it and had 5 litres of it sitting under the house and found that it had an active lifespan of something like 18 months to 2 years, where it had pretty much all the half-life had reduced to nothing. So I basically just used it as a white oil after that to suffocate insects. So you need to buy it and use it fairly quick, is my understanding, if you're buying the cold press stuff. And in aquaponics system, I would go as far as to try and limit the spray onto the grow beds themselves. Probably wouldn't use it if you've got a floating raft system or a NFT where the water's exposed, and just do spot sprays on infested, like if you're using it for aphids or whiteflies or something like that, do a spot spray just on that area. And even go as far as maybe putting some newspaper or some sort of cover over your grow bed itself, and then do the spot spray there if you've got crustaceans in the system. I have seen papers where they say, generally speaking, don't take this as, you know, gospel, it won't affect the fish if you have them in the system. So a little bit on the media doesn't hurt. It's the same as pyrethrum. I've seen people recommend using pyrethrum in the system and it won't affect fish because the lethal LD50 is fairly high. So just required to kill them is fairly high. Don't take this as recommendations, look up for yourself. So they recommend using pyrethrum in the system. I wouldn't, because over time it can build up and can harm the fish. I have the same take on neem, so I don't do a broad spray. I just do a spot spray. So I hope that helps. I think, folks, I might leave it there. So I'm feeling a little bit wasted, to tell you the truth. Not happy wasted. So there you go. Again, if you do see, hello China, how's it going? How'd you get out from the big iron wall? If you do have any questions, sorry folks, I'm a little bit fuzzy today. If you're a little bit late on the stream, hit that like button. Even if you're watching this after the fact, it would be great to get, you know, as the video out there as far as I can, because as I said, there will be no dedicated YouTube videos over the next couple of weeks. We'll just be doing hangouts like this. So it'd be great if you could come along next week, have any questions you have ready to go, and I'll get into answering them, and I'll have a clearer head, I promise. I think I just heard a car door shut too, Bianca. Yeah. So there we go. We'll leave it there. You're going to say goodbye, Bianca?
Bye.
Bye. And I do hope you guys all have a smashing week and your aquaponics are booming. And I will catch you next time. So will Bianca. Yes. Cheers, folks. Take it easy. Now I've forgotten how to end this. I just clicked off screen. There you go. You're getting a couple of extra seconds, folks.